You've come a long, long way. You're not alone anymore. Come sit with me and tell me your story. You've come a long way, girl. Pulled yourself out of quite the mess. Those were some dark times back then, but it's all over now. You're not alone anymore. Come sit with me and tell me your story. This is Truckin' with Tamie, where your journey's heard and your voice is free. You're not alone, come share your story with me.
Good morning, truck drivers and friends. Welcome back to Truckin' with Tamie, where we keep it real, talk life behind the wheel, and spotlight the people and programs making a difference for drivers. So today I have the pleasure of having Maggie Wolarik joining me. Maggie is the Executive Director and President of Operation Broga. You're like, what is Operation Broga? Well, she's going to tell you all about it. It's a nonprofit that's going to be bringing yoga and wellness tools to vets, active military. I believe she even does firefighters, police, EMS, nurses, the whole shebang. And now truckers too. So Maggie, welcome to the show. And thanks so much for taking the time for a morning chat.
Thank you, Tamie. It's so nice to be here. Appreciate it.
So if you would, Maggie, before we get into Operation Broga, why don't you tell us a little bit about Maggie Wolarik?
Oh, thank you. Well, let's see here. I grew up in Southern California and ended up on the East Coast. And what brought me to yoga was my long-term job with a sales company where I was in my car, 70,000 miles a year on my car. Not a very good car with any lumbar support. And I developed this awful case of sciatica. I had had some traumatic stuff happen. So we've got PTSD rolled into the whole thing. And anyway, so falling into yoga, literally my balance was so bad, I tripped and fell into the class. And they had to stand next to me and catch me 8 times while I, kind of struggled through that. But it was that moment of calm that I felt when I got done that I seriously had not felt in 25 years, and I was hooked. So that's kind of my story. So started in California, ended up in Maine for 10 years doing my sales job. And now I'm in New Jersey and enjoying it. We have a house by the bay, and
yeah, you do. It's
beautiful. My yoga now.
Being a West Coast girl, it is quite the transition going from West Coast to East Coast.
It was. I think the weather was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, you get snow. I don't know where you were in California, but when I was growing up, winter for us was like 30 days of overcast skies. Okay. I mean, that was basically it. Santa Claus's lap in shorts.
I remember washing my car on Christmas Day out in California. I got on a bikini and I'm washing my, it's 75 degrees on Christmas Day. So
yeah. I always say winter where we lived was just, it was just cloudy. We just didn't see the sun for a few days.
Exactly.
So you literally fell into yoga, and I like that because that's probably going to be me. I would probably fall on my face trying to do some of those stances. But so tell us about that journey, because falling into it and then taking that leap to develop an organization is a pretty big step. So how did that transition happen from literally falling into it to saying, hey, here comes Operation Broga?
Well, there. So anyway, so it was 20 years of therapists telling me this is what I needed to do. And I would poo-poo it by saying I can't sit still. And that's just really dumb. And there's no way I'm ever going to do this. So did not listen to my own advice, stumbled into that hot yoga class. For me, if I was able to feel that calm and that peace, again, which I hadn't really experienced for a very long time, I took yoga classes for another 10 years and then started my journey in getting certified. What happened was my focus originally was veterans. I had lost my nephew in Afghanistan, and my dad was a vet and never spoke about his service. And it was just this very quiet side of him that just, he never talked about it. And so I started teaching veterans, and I ended up at the Pentagon. And I was talking to a vet. We're at the end of a tour. This is pre-COVID. And he just looked at me. He said, Maggie, it's all about trust. You trusted, the court system to protect your children. And I trusted the government that told me to go here and do this. So when you're looking at not having that sense of trust and security, that's where this PTSD happens. So I was working in the insurance world. I decided on a Friday, it was Friday, March 13th, when the state of Jersey shut down, I'm going to teach yoga full time. Well, best laid plans, everything went online. But as I'm sitting through COVID and I'm thinking about what I wanted to do, I wanted to start my own nonprofit for I was thinking veterans, first responders, that whole crowd because of the trauma that they suffer. And then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, truckers are delivering our food to us right now. And I know when I go on a ride, I can't even find a restroom that's open. So I thought, truckers need this. I suffered my sciatica after sitting in a car. Truckers being on the road. When I was in Maine, most of my clients were the trucking companies, and the claims that they would submit were always about back injuries and all the things that happen when a person's sitting behind the wheel for a long period of time. So my Operation Broga, so Broga is just a lighter form of yoga, and it's just a lighter form. Life is so serious. We don't need to be so, I guess, serious in our yoga class. So Broga is a little light. It's a little fun. It attracts the men to my class, which a lot of the men wouldn't do this, but you call it Broga, all of a sudden you got a room full of people. And so I created my nonprofit. And as soon as COVID was over, I started doing some fundraising and getting the word out there and spreading the word. And it's just been I work with firehouses. I work with veteran groups. I also play violin. So that's another angle that I use. I also use that at the end of all my classes. I play a little music for music therapy. So my classes are anything from breath work to meditation to gentle movement to process that stress, the stress, build some resilience. And you see my home studio here. We are in transition right now. So waiting for the house to be built so I have my studio back again.
Oh yeah, you should see my studio. It was set up, and then when we brought my son home, I had to give up my studio downstairs for him. So now I'm trying to make it work upstairs. So I get it. I am not fully the way I was, but it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
We make do, don't we?
Yes, we do. We're flexible.
We are. So Operation Broga. You fell into yoga, you fell into the Pentagon. Here comes Operation Broga. You do a lot of falling, by the way. Just don't fall out of a truck. Just make sure you don't fall out of a truck. Yeah, don't do that. So what does Operation Broga do?
What we do is we provide health and wellness services for our populations, the truck drivers, the nurses. I do live classes at driver meetings. I teach at conferences. I provide a lot of online classes for folks if we're not in the same time zone. I also go out, and I'm flying to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to work with an entity that works with police officers and firefighters that are struggling on the job. So I teach classes for them.
Okay. So if somebody goes down to your website, which is right here, everybody, operationbroga.org, what are they going to find?
Well, they're going to find a lot of just images of classes that I've done. One of the funnest one I did, I taught the Navy SEALs out on the bay, and it was just this fun class on the sand. So you have things that talk about my business, and also my contact information, a list of my online classes as they are right now. Those are always changing, so they may not be completely updated. They'll find information about my 501c3. I am a nonprofit, and just a whole bunch of information about what our classes are and what they do and what the benefits are.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So, a lot of my listeners are professional drivers and a lot of veteran drivers. I mean, so this is going to hit two demographics all
Yes.
at once. So, drivers spend a lot of long hours behind the wheel. Well, what specific mobility or let's call them recovery practices from Broga could help them reduce that back pain, that hip tightness, or fatigue on the road?
Lovely. Let's see here. First thing that we always talk about is breath work. So a lot of times when we're stressed, we're driving, we're behind the wheel and the shoulders are getting tight. We got that breath way up in the chest. So it's teaching them to just bring that breath all the way down and all the way up to calm the parasympathetic nervous system and allow us to relax. I have a YouTube channel. I know you're going to talk about that. I recorded a bunch of videos. So rolling the shoulders up and relieving that shoulder pain. Opening up the chest. We're sitting there in a very confined space, so we need to open that up. For tight hips, which is my specialty, because apparently my hips were tight and I had no idea. Who knew? Crossing ankles over the knees. Some of these things we can do while we're sitting in the truck or getting out of the
I'm under, okay, you guys, I'm underneath my desk right now, crossing my ankles over my knees, just so you know. I'm like, let's work. My hips are tight too.
So that's just a classic opening up the hip and just a little bit of movement. Doing lunges on the steps. That's another move that I put out on my YouTube page. Just putting the foot up on the step carefully, especially if it's icy.
Lower step, everybody. Let's start with the lower step. We're not starting with the higher one.
And another one that I do, and I had a really bad injury to my arm. I went boxing, and there's a whole other story. But bringing the hands.
Does it involve falling?
Don't go boxing. No, I hit the guy too hard.
Oh.
Anyway, that's a whole other story.
Go girl.
Just don't let Maggie do that. Anyway, bringing the hands on the side of the truck and we step back and now we're stretching the back and the backs of the legs. The hamstrings and the calves get tight because when we're sitting, our back body gets shorter and that gets tight. And then now we have, again, the back pain, the hip pain. It's all that. You just got to think about the hip bone is connected to the.
We're all going to be singing that song now.
I know.
And so the breathing, you also teach breathing for mental health as well?
Yes. So you think of somebody with, the depression and then anxiety and the stuff is happening. So it's that breath work. And if we can focus on the breath, you hear this term mindfulness and you're like, what the heck is that? Right? That is just being in the moment. As we're breathing, right? I'm not going to think about, oh my gosh, I forgot to, go turn the kettle off or, it's all those things that just, they bang into your head a million times. And if we can just focus on the breath, that's what, when you hear about meditation, which is another sort of elusive thing that people think about, that is just that all you're doing is breathing. And then you get distracted and then you come back to your breath. You get distracted again, you come back to your breath. And for the longest time, I could not understand how that worked. And I read a book. I got COVID. It was, I don't know what month it was. It was sometime prior to COVID. And I read this book. I think it was Dan Harris, 90% happy or 10% happy or whatever his book was. And it was a whole book about he finally figured out all it was just breathing and focusing on his breath. He went to India. He did all this stuff. And this is all we have to do. And it's the hardest thing to do, Tamie.
Breathe. But yeah, I can see that in my own day to day where there are moments where I feel like I forget to breathe. So happiness is found when you breathe.
Totally. And that's yoga. You're pausing and you're breathing. And that's yoga.
Yeah. So if you think about a simple thing you can do today, drivers, just breathe. I mean, that's lesson number 1. Breathe. You can do that driving down the road. Don't hyperventilate though, please.
And don't close your eyes. Yes.
Yeah, don't close your eyes. So if drivers want to start or anybody else is listening, because, we do have vets and everyone else audience wise, do they need any equipment or anything to get going?
Nope. You know what?
Because I see a lot of things in your background. So,
this is my workout area, my yoga space. Anyway, so this is where I do it all, and my music. So you see the music stand back there. You really don't need anything. We can just be sitting in a chair and doing a bunch of stuff. We can just be standing and we're just inhaling our arms up. We don't need any fancy equipment. A lot of people that I teach are beginners. They don't have anything, and that's okay. Sometimes we might just grab a ratchet strap and use that, to stretch out the shoulders and the chest, right? So a ratchet strap would work. A scarf. It's cold out. I grab my scarf. Yeah. Or a towel, right? I mean, it's the stuff that we have around us. I did a class. I was in a hotel room, and the Bible worked really well for me to sit on that to bring my hips up off the ground. We do what we got to do.
I've seen t-shirts. I've seen them holding up t-shirts, stretching
exactly
t-shirts.
A t-shirt. Sure. It's and you don't have to be on a mat. Mats are when we're starting to move, and we just don't want our feet to slip. It's just easier to do it on a mat. But laying down a towel. When I teach my guys out in Coeur d'Alene and there's 15 cops, firemen in the room, they all bring a towel from their room. And then that doubles for the towel that we have, because we have to go out to the lake and do a cold plunge. So now we have a towel to dry ourselves off.
Okay. So Operation Broga, that we introduced that for veterans and people that are in those military services, EMS. Okay. Then you developed recently a new YouTube channel called Yoga for Truckers, because Tamie said, if truck drivers are going to do yoga, Maggie, you got to show them how to do it.
Yes.
So you went out and you created some videos that showed how to do the yoga inside the limited space of a truck.
Yes.
How'd that go? How was that experience?
It was so much fun. So the gentleman that I met with is friends with a pastor, and I play at his church. So he referred me over to this gentleman. This guy grabbed a truck from the parking lot. He pulled it in front of the office. He left it running. He said, do what you got to do. I'm like, all righty. So it's still running, which, sometimes the truck is still running.
Yep.
And it's little snippets of videos that focus on the shoulders, focus on the neck, focus on the lunge on the bottom step of the steps, that L pose that I was talking about that stretches the whole back body. And I just broke it up into little teeny tiny segments, and there was no equipment. It was just me sitting in a truck.
And these exercises you did are all beginner friendly exercises for...
Very much so. Anybody that's never done this, or we haven't moved in a long time.
I just feel I better say this, just because we are talking about health things. Always seek medical advice before trying any new exercise. So let's put that disclaimer out there, because Tamie doesn't want to get in trouble if somebody gets hurt. Always seek medical advice before starting a new exercise regimen. All right, guys. I mean,
thank you, Tamie.
If you grab a hot coffee and spill it, it's hot. If you try a new exercise, make sure you stretch first. I'm Gen X here, guys. Don't fall out of the truck. Morning labels on everything.
Yes, there is.
So these exercises, how many videos are on the YouTube channel now?
I think there might be 10. I even included a nice long meditation if you're just hanging out in the truck and you just want to chill out. There's a lovely guided meditation there. It's about 40 minutes, so it's a little longer, but I thought I'd add that. But also, I think about 10 snippets. I am going to a trucking company out in Minnesota, and we're recording a bunch of videos, so I'm doing that in May.
I'm excited for that.
I'm very excited about that.
Okay, so I am looking at her videos right now on YouTube. So this is called Yoga for Truckers, if you want to go look her up on YouTube. And this is a new channel. So when you think of yoga, these aren't like what you would think yoga is, because it's push-ups, it's tricep dips, it stretches, which, so I can see why it's more of a broga, because, they're not out there doing the, these are more like actual calisthenics meets yoga.
Yep. And that's exactly what it is, Tamie. I am not that floofy yoga teacher. If you want floof, you got to look someplace else. I approach it with a little humor, with a little, just getting down to brass tacks and just doing what we have to do.
So are you, so you have the videos. Are you going to be doing online, like live classes or anything? Do you have any of that set up, or can they schedule classes? Do you do one-on-one to get people going? What do you do? What do you offer them?
I do a lot of one-on-one, working with people individually, and especially folks that have never done this. So they want to feel comfortable. They want to know that they're doing it the right way. So a lot of one-on-one on Zoom. I teach on Zoom. I can certainly teach on different platforms. Zoom is just the platform that I've used for a very long time. And if folks are within, distance where I can get to them, I have a gal that reached out to me. She's in Philadelphia, and I'm going to be teaching at her driver meeting. So, sometimes we bring this to the driver meetings because you know what? These guys need to have these tools available to them.
They do. And you know what? So I've been to a lot of places where they start their shifts with a stretch, right? So you've seen that in meetings. And truck drivers need that. They need where they start their day getting those muscles ready, and then they need that at the end of the day after they've put their muscles through it for 11, 12, 13, 14 hours.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And if I had known all this, I was driving, it was driving snow and 12 hours on the road. And I had no idea that I was supposed to stretch when I got back home.
Yeah. And most of the time you're tired. You just are like,
exactly. And that's what we do. And you know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to move before we do that.
Our body needs more from us than that. Yes. I used to just shower and sleep. I'd be like, 14-hour days. I just want to sleep. But yes, our bodies need more from that, because truck driving is very hard, especially on your hips and your back. So this would be very beneficial to that. So when we talked, I did ask you if you would be up for demonstrating some of the yoga poses for our viewers. I know for you listeners, you're not going to be able to see this, but for those that are watching our show live and on YouTube, you'll be able to check this out. Or listeners, after the end of the podcast, please go over and check out the full video so you can see the poses, or check her out on YouTube to get a view of them. So if you don't mind, Maggie.
I don't mind at all, Tamie.
I'm just going to watch this morning because I'm still working on my first cup of coffee.
We're going to work on shoulders and the neck and do a little breath work.
I can do that.
The most attainable thing. So for our breath work, we're just going to sit up tall. If you have your feet somewhere, if you could bring them to the ground, that would be fabulous.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is inhale. We're filling the belly and we're moving that breath up to the chest. And then we exhale down from the chest to the belly. So that longer exhale that we're doing, as we exhale, we're soothing the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the thing that we have to release in order to relax. So inhaling all the way up and exhale all the way down. Eyes can be closed or the gaze lowered. Inhale.
If you're driving, please don't close your eyes.
And exhale. Yeah, please don't close your eyes if you're driving. And on that next inhale, we're going to roll our shoulders up by our ears and down our back. A lot of times we're going to find those shoulders are stuck by the ears because we're thinking about that problem. Inhale.
I'm glad I'm glad you guys can't hear this because I'm crackling.
So am I. And one more time. Inhale up and exhale. All right. Now, if you're not driving, you're doing this. We're going to take a hand up and over towards the ear. And then we take the ear that's close to the arm over to the side. We're stretching the traps, the trapezoids, which come down the neck, and over to the other side. And just notice that you're breathing. Let's do that one more time on each side.
I think I quit breathing.
Okay. You stop breathing. You just keep going. And one more time, so we're even. We don't want to be all out of whack here.
And don't hold your breath like I was just doing. Breathe.
And you're back. Now reach your arms out to the side. One arm might be going out the window. And
You know what? Ignore this, guys.
Well, don't move your arms and that won't wiggle. Reaching for your shoulders. Big squeeze.
Ooh.
Breathe.
Oh, that was good. It's like a big hug. It's like hugging yourself. Hug yourself, everybody. Oh.
And reach your arms out to the side. Cross that other arm over. And oh, that big squeeze. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that amazing?
That is.
Yes, ma'am. And release. All right. A little seated cat-cow. We're going to interlace our fingers and then just turn the palms so they're facing away. And we inhale up. Now the eyes might follow the hands. The chest comes forward. This is what we call cow. And then we exhale down and we snug the belly in. And this is what we call cat. So you're moving your spine. Moving that spine. And you're inhaling and then you exhale down. One more time. Inhale up. And exhale down.
That time she reminded me to breathe. See?
Good job. Now bring your left hand next to you and your right arm up and over. A little side stretch. Nice. And then over to the other side. Maybe resting the hand on the chair, maybe on the side of the seat, whatever you got. And we're just coming side to side. And to the other side, inhaling as we come over. Big old stretch.
Oh, that feels good.
Baby. All righty. And then we're back. Look at you sitting up taller.
I know, right? Like, oh, man, that felt good. Woo.
So that's just one of my shoulders, sides, just getting a little movement. So the spine, so there's a lot of poses that we do that kind of moves the spine around a little bit because, again, that's tight. Chest openers. I think I did one of these on the video, right? Because, if we're sitting like this, the chest is tight, the shoulders are tight, all the stuff.
Yeah, we kind of roll in while we're driving, I have a habit when I drive, I lean on my left hip. Like all my weight goes to that.
Ooh.
Left
Yep.
hip.
I've got some hip openers that we do. Those are more laying down. I'm going to do those when I go to Minnesota, and we're going to be on the bed, on the cot.
Oh, nice, nice. On the bunk.
Yes.
It's called a bunk.
A bunk. Yeah. There you go. It's like, the word just escaped me. So we'll be on the bunk, and then we can do those, the hip stretches and that other stuff.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So I hope that those listeners that are watching did those exercises with us because they felt really good this morning. Is there do you want to demonstrate some of the other stretches without me following? Because I see you got the mat behind you.
Oh, sure. I can show you.
We have time still this morning. If
we have time. Okay. Awesome sauce. All righty. I think you can still see me. So what are the stretches? Okay, I'm going to show you this. So you imagine you've got your hands up against the side of the truck, right? So you're bringing your hands on your truck. And this is not quite as high. And then we're stepping back away from the truck. The head is coming in between the arms. So we're stretching the calves, the hamstrings, the back, the shoulders.
So it's almost like a toe touch, only instead of putting your hands on the floor, you're putting them on the steps of the truck. So you're not literally
you're in like an L shape. And so the whole back body is getting that stretch. So you don't have to get down on the floor. You can just bring your hands to the side of the truck.
And the top step is like a perfect height for that, I think.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So the side of the truck or the top step. Now for the bottom step, if we step on there, and I'll just do this without stepping up onto anything, but if we're stepping onto that step and we're coming into a lunge, so the foot is up on the step, we're holding onto the truck, what we're doing is engaging that front quad. We're stretching through the calf and the hamstring on the back. We're also stretching the hip flexor. So the hip flexor gets tight. That's the spot that's at the top of the hips. So those are going to get tight, and then that's what causes back pain. So coming into that lunge, I'll do it on the other side. So you figure my calf my hamstring, my hip flexor, and a little strength in that front leg. So it's sort of a multi-purpose pose.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lunge, only you're stepped up. And I do recommend having your door open and putting your hands up on the up there to hang on while you're doing that for balance while you're learning the pose.
Yes.
Safety first.
Safety first.
Anybody falling over. We've heard enough about
don't be Maggie.
Falling, so no falling.
And then a big one is crossing that ankle over the knee, and I'll just kind of do this right here. So, and watch me fall over. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna fall doing that one. I have no balance.
It's crossing the ankle over the knee, and what you're doing is you're opening up that hip, right? So we call it. Yeah, that was graceful.
Y'all put your hands on your tires before you do this one. I'm at home, so my hand's going to go on the desk or the counter before I try this one.
And there you go. Or if you're just sitting. So what that's called is a figure 4. And that hip is opening up. And you can press down on the knee. You can lean forward with your torso to deepen that stretch. So the hips, Tamie, is where you store all of your trauma, your grief. So I equate the hips to the junk drawer in the kitchen. You go to open it one day and you can't open it. And you're like, what have I done? So the hips. So important.
I sprained my hip a couple years ago at a wedding reception.
Oh,
so
sounds like it was a good time.
I got a little wild doing the Monet. My doctor said the injury was something that he had only seen with professional athletes. So do take care of those hips because we put them through a lot, especially bouncing and twisting. I mean, bouncing and twisting is really rough on a body. So I take really good care of my hips now because of that. So I do have to stretch them and, keep them going because, I got that little catch now.
Okay.
But yes, hips are very important. And as we get older,
yes,
it's really important. And, we don't want you falling out of the truck, breaking a hip or anything. But sitting is very hard on hips. Very, very hard.
It's hard on the hips, the hip flexors. Another stretch that you could, if you keep, let's say you're sitting, I'm trying to think where you could do this you can do this standing up and leaning up against the truck. But if we're just standing and we can stretch, right, the front of that leg, so the hip flexor and the quad gets stretched.
You can. I've actually seen drivers out on the road stretching like that. So you can put a hand on a tire, you can put a hand on the wheel, you can put a hand on your trailer. There's lots of places where you can get your balance to do that. But I've actually seen guys just get out of the truck and do that, like after driving for an extended period of time, just kind of stretching.
Huge. Yes.
So you got a lot going on. I mean, coming up, you're going to be recording up in Minnesota, and I know the details about that, but you guys don't get to know that. Got to keep that on the down low for now. You have also started doing demonstrations for other companies for drivers.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I taught at a couple of conferences and the folks have reached out, and when they have driver meetings, they're going to have me come in. So,
and I think that's great. I think that's a great target for you to get that through the companies, for the companies to offer that to their drivers. I think that's a great approach. Any other things you got going on for 2026 that you're looking at?
Let's see here. I'm part of the New Jersey Trucking Association, so I'm going to be teaching it there. They've got a big conference in Atlantic City, so doing that. And then there's another event they do where it's Driver Wellness Day or something. And somewhere along the 95 between Jersey and Washington, D.C., I'll be at a truck stop. And when I figure that out, I'll let you know. Yeah.
That is awesome. That I would recommend getting some flyers or stickers or something together that has all your stuff on it, because drivers are always on the go with your website links.
Yes. Yes. I've got lovely stickers.
Do you?
I do.
Stickers seem to be the thing.
My patches came in and they're black and white, and they look
Yeah.
like they came in like a package that looked like Oreos. And I thought, God, did I order personalized Oreos? What did I order? And they're my patches.
I ordered them. I ordered some new ones and for the organization I'm on, and they come on a sheet. And I get it, and I'm like, what in the world? It was all rolled up, and it was on a sheet, a big sheet. And then you just it was like perforated. And I'm like, oh, I did not realize that it came, but that's how you just got to find the company that cuts it for you, because if not, I got a really good deal. Now I know why, because it was on the sheet and I had to go in and cut them all up. But yeah, stickers and things are the thing. But I never understood that until I got into truck driving, and truck drivers like their stickers.
Yes, they do.
I don't know. So anything else you would like to tell our listeners?
You know what? On my website, you've got my phone number and my email, and just reach out to me. You got questions, whatever you need, and I can. Yeah.
I do have a question.
Yes,
when
ma'am.
you offer your Zoom and your one-on-one trainings, do you offer those at a fee, or do you give those free to drivers?
Right now, I don't have a lot of donations to my nonprofit, so I need to bring in some more donations. But right now, we charge. I mean, classes are like $10 when you teach a class online, so it's not. It's not an expensive thing.
Okay.
And a lot of these gigs that I go to, I don't get paid. I just get myself there. So,
okay.
So
videos are free, but if you want one-on-one personal attention, you might have to help her out donation wise with a little bit. So, and that's important information to know, because, everybody's a little bit different on what they have. So there you go. Operation Broga underneath.org. And then again, it's Yoga for Truckers on YouTube. Well, Maggie, I appreciate you taking the time out this morning to
Thank you so
stretch
much,
us.
Tamie. What a pleasure.
It is always fun. So truck drivers, you guys be safe out there, and we'll see you next week on Truckin' with Tamie. Bye, y'all.